Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Rhastakhan Rumble card review. We're going to be taking a look at Day 9, Day 9's coverage over on Hearthstone of all these new cards, and we'll jump straight into it. We're going to take a look at Tree Speaker here. This is a Druid card. It's a 5 mana 4/4 on Battlecry. Transform your Treants into 5/5 Ancients. So this is kind of trying to continue from the Treant theme of the last expansion of Boomsday 4 Druid, which never really came to fruition. You know, we saw some people experimenting with the 3 mana summon two Treants, but outside of that, the Treant archetype was never really fully explored. And Tree Speaker represents a very reasonable upside to that archetype. You know, you transform your Trents I'm going to call them Trents forever. Into 5/5 Ancients. That's basically like a level up. So if you can ever get to the point where you're getting that same kind of critical mass of Trents in play, that Odd Paladin would get Silverhand recruits, this comes down and all of a sudden makes things really tough for your opponent. The only issue that I have with the Trent Speaker, with Trent Speaker Basil is it better than Fungalmancer? You know, I think in the majority case situations, Fungalmancer, can come down, buff anything, whereas this only comes down and buffs Trents. It is a bit bigger than the Fungalmancer on its own, so I guess in a vacuum it's at least better that way, but yet to be seen. I think there's a possibility that Tree Speaker might make the archetype a little bit better, but I wouldn't hold my breath, and I think that the existing taunt and controlling archetypes for Druid and combo archetypes are a bit better, and this really it doesn't have enough upside to it. Alright, moving on to the Hunter cards, the big one. Zul'jin, the brand new Hunter hero card. So Zul'jin's 10 mana, gives you that 5 armor, and on Battlecry casts all spells you've played this game, targets chosen randomly. So that's Yogg Saron. Yeah, for those of you who've been playing for quite a while, you remember the fun days of Yogg. And the hero power that you get is 2 mana to deal 2 damage to any target, which is the upgraded mage hero power. Which is quite strong, but I guess the main application is going to be that Battlecry. Hunter already has an amazing hero card in Rexxar. A 1 card that can just win you the game if the game does go long, and if your opponent gives you enough breathing room. So I think Zul'jin, when we think about spells that are really good to be playing with him, I think Flux Boom Cannon. Essentially giving you 2 copies of very high impact spell. I think of cards like the Spellstone to summon a bunch of wolves. Animal Companion's fine. If we want to go full Spell Hunter, we could be playing the one that summons 2 Animal Companions for 6 mana. There are definitely a lot of things, but a lot of those, as you can kind of see, fulfill the same role. They all just summon minions. So I'm not too sure how I feel about Zul'jin in a full-on Spell Hunter deck, especially because if you are playing Spell Hunter, you're going to be wanting to play those Hunter's Marks, you're going to want to play Kill Commands, you're going to want to play Flanking Strikes and things like that, and whenever the targets are chosen randomly for these spells, things can work out pretty poorly for you. It goes okay with Secrets, actually particularly it goes very well with Secrets and Subject 9, because you really want to play a lot of different secrets, and when you play Zul'jin, you'll be able to get all your different secrets, create that full Christmas tree. But yeah, I think mostly combo applications with Zul'jin for me, with Master's Call and things like that, and Flux Boom Cannon. But and obviously once Rexxar rotates out, I think Zul'jin will be a fantastic late game value tool to potentially allow you to get back in the game. Not as good as Rexxar, but we'll find out how good Zul'jin is, and I hope is really good, because card art does look pretty cool. The other Hunter card we have today is the Beast Within. Give a friendly beast +1/+1, then it attacks a random enemy minion, and for 1 mana as well. This seems very interesting. We saw yesterday or maybe it'll be today, the neutral 3 mana 3/5 beast. I think any of those big booty beasts are great targets for this. You can, kind of use it as a 2 for 2 in that, if you use your Misha to kill their 3/2, and then you can play this and hopefully trade with their other minion, maybe trading up as well, quite efficiently on mana, I guess, at that point. Yeah, I think this could be interesting, especially with charged Devil's Oars and stuff like that, or Witchwood Grizzlies, where you do have quite a lot of toughness to work with. I think that'll be key. So I'd look for the Beast Within to actually be potentially a nice card, depending on the metagame, for a lot of the mid-range hunter decks. Move on to Mage. We have Splitting Image, the new Mage secret. It does cost 3 mana, as Mage secrets tend to do. It says, when one of your minions is attacked, summon a copy of it. So we're wanting to have big minions in play for this, I would say. Big Death Rattle minions or big static effect minions are pretty good. If we think of this with like a big neutral taunt or something like that, that seems fine. Even setting up a Splitting Image before we land, say, a big end game finisher or an Antonidas or something like that. All of a sudden now your opponent has to kill 2 Antonides. Yeah, this does seem pretty cool. I'm sure there'll be some combo applications for it, or potentially maybe some like mid-range applications for it. If this elemental mage thing becomes a reality, Splitting Image could be an interesting part to that. As even if you're just copying like a bonfire elemental or a water elemental, that does seem fine. But then once you get into those, the 6 mana Pyros or something along those lines, or Blaze Calls or something like that. I don't know. Anytime you're getting like a big 5/5 or bigger body for 3 mana, that's got to be pretty good. I guess it's also another option for Arcanologist to pull out of your deck if you just purely wanted to have like another option outside of Mirror Image or Explosive Runes for like proactive secrets in a way. But this isn't very proactive, really. Anyway, I think Splitting Image is good. I think we're going to see some probably some big control decks, maybe with some big Lich Kings and Death Rattles to take advantage of it. Good taunt minions for sure. Absolutely agree, Biazil. The other Mage spell we have here is Scorch. 4 mana. Deal 4 damage to a minion, cost 1 if you played an elemental last turn. So this kind of reminds me of Wing Blast, which was same kind of thing, 4 mana removal spell that cost less if you did a thing. Obviously Wing Blast, I think it was a minion dying this turn, and it saw some kind of niche play in various hunter decks. Scorch seems a bit more... obviously in the elemental deck's a bit easier to trigger. You're basically always playing an elemental every turn. The fact making it cost 1 as well hopefully won't interrupt your elemental chain. You can play a Tar Creeper on turn 3, and then on turn 4 you can Scorch something and play another Tar Creeper or another 3-drop elemental or a Firefly or something along those lines. So that is good. And I guess the elemental deck is certainly a deck that was looking for early game removal to make sure that it can not die and get towards that late game. Potentially you can be using this with Firefly and Glacial Shard and maybe your choice of 2-drops to stymie your opponent, stymie an Odd Paladin or another aggressive deck. Make sure that you can get that late game, start dropping those big chunky boys on them. Chunky boys. Alright, over to Priest. We have Mass Hysteria. 5 mana priest spell. Force each minion to attack another random minion. So this is a lot like... I guess it's a lot like Brawl. I think we'd need to see exactly how it all resolves, right? Like, does do we check state-based actions? Like, do we check if a minion has died during the resolution of mass hysteria? So, for instance, if we have 3/3s in play, if we've played a Hunter Spellstone, our opponent plays mass hysteria, does 1/3/3 dog attacking the other, will this one die, or will it have 3 damage marked on it, and then it's going to attack something else? I imagine that's the way that it would work, that everything's going to attack and then things die. Because, yeah, that makes for a very interesting, a really cool priest removal spell. I wonder if this lets eggs attack. That's also true. Can 0 attack minions attack Gemini? That's a great question. So we'll need to see the full kind of mechanics behind this card before we can make a good decision. But at the very least, it does seem like a cool priest removal spell. If your opponent starts to get ahead on board and starts to try to snowball or go under you, you can mass hysteria. Comes down earlier than Psychic Scream, and comes down and probably has a bit more impact than a Holy Nova. So once again, just adding to that control suite of priest cards, where you get to really pick and choose from a lot of good options. I like it. I think 5 mana seems pretty fair too. Same kind of turn as Brawl, but hopefully Warrior gets some tools. Can't just be giving Brawl to Priest now. Alright, Rogue. We got another Pirate. Excellent. We've been looking to see these Pirates and see if this Pirate Rogue deck is going to be a thing. It's the Blood Sail Howler. It's a little Uka monkey. What are the monkey boys called? The Uka Dukas?
Uka Dukas.
The Uka...
yeah, I don't remember.
Oh, law expert in the house. Can't help me out on this one.
Finish my coffee.
We have a Blood Sail Howler, which is a 2 mana 1/1 pirate. It does have Rush and Battlecry. Gain +1/+1 for each other pirate you control. So in the dedicated pirate decks, if we imagine an average case scenario of us having maybe 1 pirate in play, maybe this is turn 4, 5, 6, 7 or something like that. We can play another pirate, then play this. We get a 2 mana 3/3 with Rush.
Hosen.
The Hosen. There we are. This is a Hosen boy, the Ukadukas. Yeah, I'm not too hot on this one. Think, especially in the early game, we can probably rely a lot more on our daggers and probably bigger minions to help us control the board. And I think even if in a really good case scenario where you have 3 or 4 pirates in play and you play this, it's still, as Rush, it's not going to be an early turn, I would say, when you're just playing a small, huge statted minion or something. Your opponent's probably going to have something to say about it, but I like that it's another option for these pirate decks where you can go full dedicated pirates, to play 20 pirates or whatever. But I think I'm still on the opinion that it's going to be a good rogue deck with just the legendary that summons the 3 pirates and playing the 5 or 6 best pirates. And I don't think the Bloodsail Howler fits into the best pirate category. On to Shaman. We have a new Shaman legendary. It's a big frog. Look at this big frog.
He's a lower.
He's a big frog. That's what he is. Yep. Wow, lore expert I am. It's a 6 mana 4/6 beast. With Battlecry, return all spells you played last turn to your hand. So even in a normal case scenario, if we imagine it's getting late-ish in the game and we go for like a we volcano and then our opponent starts building the board back up, we can play Kragwa the frog, get our volcano back and start to threaten that again. I think that's an okay normal scenario. Obviously this card gets really ridiculous and is going to be in the same standard format as Hagatha for their entire existence. I think that's where things start to shine, where you can start having some, getting some Hagatha value, and then all of a sudden this comes down and just blows your opponent out of the water. Even in a scenario where you Lightning Storm and then you Healing Rain or something like that, playing Kragwa to get both of those spells back is is really good. I like it. I can really get behind this. I think we'll probably see this make an appearance in various control shaman decks. Doesn't make it into Shutterwalk though. Is this battle cry a battle cry you want to put in your Shutterwalk pool? I don't think so. In the same way that I don't think Shutterwalk would want to play Firefly, I don't think you'd want to play Kragwa, because you risk stopping your combo by adding too many cards to your hand, and then not being able to Zola your Shutterwalk. So not really not vibing this one for Shutterwalk, but I hope a Control Shaman deck can come into this. And the last card we have is a warrior card, the Spirit of the Rhino. Another 1-mana spirit, which I'm very happy with. I think the Druid spirit was one of the more exciting spirits for me, just for the potential of it. I don't think it was very obviously busted. So 1-mana 0/3, and it says your rush minions are immune the turn they're summoned. So, you can pair already rush. There are good rush minions, and in Warrior, especially with Town Crier, we talked about it when we talked about Akali, that the little rush packages that you can play in Warrior are really, really sweet. Now, if we imagine, the general kind of scenario, we could turn 4, play a Rabid Worgen, smash in, free hit if our opponent has a minion in play. And then next turn, we could follow up with a Ziliax, we could follow up with a Militia Commander or something like that and do the same thing. The problem here is that inherently rush minions are already good against decks that are trying to play the board. Rush minions are good against Odd Paladin, for example, or Zoo Warlock, because you can get in there, get that trade early, it prevents a little bit of damage, and rush minions are not very good against controlling decks because they're generally understated. You look at a card like Militia Commander, a 4-mana 2/5. That's really not the most threatening deck to a control warlock, or to a big spell mage, or a druid or something like that. So I think the Spirit of the Rhino just helps you more in a matchup that you're probably already good. You're already pretty good against. Now, are there shenanigans that you could do with, giving minions immune and, doing like the Abomination combo? Maybe there's a sweet Spirit of the Rhino combo deck out there that we haven't thought of. But, I think this one probably going to go to the wayside and not do too much. But yeah, that's day 9 of... Oh, no, we have neutral cards. We have one neutral legendary. Oh my gosh, we almost missed it. Mojo Master Zihi. It's a 6-mana 5/5. Battlecry, set each player to 5 mana crystals. Oh my. I don't know if I've ever told y'all, but one of my favorite words in all of gaming is a little word called pseudo-symmetry. And Mojo Master Zihi just reeks of pseudo-symmetry. I think this card could be pretty sick. Just as many decks many decks without big card draw tried to play, what's her name? The 7-mana 3/3 that copies your opponent's hand. Many decks tried to play that as a way to get back into the game against controlling decks. Mojo Master Zihi, if you are playing, say, I'm trying to think of an aggro deck that isn't odd. Let's say Zoo Warlock, for example. You're grinding. All of a sudden, your opponent kind of doesn't necessarily stabilize, but you get into one of those situations where you don't really have a board. Your opponent's on 10 or something, but they don't have a board. But next turn they're going to drop, a Lich King. They're going to drop something huge, and it's going to lock you out of the game. I think in those situations, obviously that's the ideal situation. You drop Mojo Master, they go to 5, then next turn they go to 6. So they're not going to be dropping Lich Kings, they're not going to be dropping anything like that. You set them 2 turns behind as well, so it's not like just they're not going to drop Lich King next turn. It's they can't drop Lich King next turn, the turn after that. They got to drop it the turn after that. So the real question is, how many not odd aggro decks are out will there be out there where playing Mojo Master is better than playing something like Leroy or Reckless Rocketeer or some other form of reach, or just playing more cards that are going to help you kill your opponent quickly rather than getting to the late game where you're forced to have to rely on Zihi to do something. The only other thing that I'll say is this with Surrender to Madness could be pretty interesting. That maybe that's the Surrender to Madness deck where you try and go late, but then you destroy your mana crystals, but then to kind of get parity, you play Mojo Master and something along those lines. Interesting stuff. Anyway, thank you for joining me. We've done all of them for today. Keep an eye out because Rhastakhan's Rumble comes out real soon. We'll have lots of content coming up. All the links are in the description if you are watching on YouTube. And until next time, stay safe, stay wavy. Trent. Bye. I hope you enjoyed that video. Check out other ones over here, or come subscribe to the Wave Pool for more excellent times.